Just come up here. Come.
Just come.
Up here.
Look.
Okay, lay there. Go up there. Lay next to Mama and Dada. Okay.
So cute.
But still the growing pains that keeping me up at night.
Okay, so today we're gonna talk about 10 things we've learned since we got married.
5 months?
We've been married since May, so like almost 6 months.
Yeah,
Our 6-month anniversary is
6
coming
months.
up.
November 14th.
Yeah.
November 12th.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, I was 2 days off.
First tip to marriage, remember the day that you got married.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, tip number 1.
Okay, so the first thing we can start with is something that I learned really fast right off the bat, actually on our honeymoon, was to let the small things go, like don't sweat the small things, and really like pick and choose your battles. Because you know, there's just so many things, like small things that I think girls really pay attention to, like, or maybe it's not just girls, just like people like with a certain personality, like notice when there's wet towels on the floor, or like to be at the airport a certain amount of time in advance, or you know, all these like small things that you think are so crucial, but like they're really not that important. And we learned that really fast on our honeymoon because we got in like probably like 3 or 4 like really small little like fights that are just like, we weren't like fighting like hardcore, but it was just like these little tiffs. And basically what we learned from that is just like really pick and choose the things that really matter to you, that are worth like saying something and like standing up about, or like speaking up about. Because every time that you speak up and you say something, it's kind of like Jordan described it as like you're chiseling away at like a sculpture.
Yeah, it's like you can't come at it with like a jackhammer. You gotta like slowly but surely, you know?
Yeah.
So number 2, sorry, dogs and moms and
Dogs and moms and
crazy place around here.
Marriage, you know.
So number 2 is like, it's really important to learn the other person's love language. So like back to chiseling away, I would say that like my love language is like words of affirmation, right? And so when I wasn't getting affirmation from you, you could have done everything in the world. Like you could have made me dinner, you could have like given me gifts, but if I like don't have my affirmation, like I don't feel loved. And so, you know, 9 times out of 10, I feel like in marriage, like your love language is probably not going to be the other person's, because that's kind of like how God uses each other to like refine you. So like it would be easy for me if your love language was words of affirmation, but I shower you with that and you don't care. I mean, you care, but like you don't really, like it doesn't like,
I'm more of like an actions person. I'm like, what do words really mean? But actions speak so much louder than words.
It's actually funny because I'm pretty sure that Dani's love language is everything but words of affirmation. Like she's like literally all the other ones except for that.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what my love language is.
We're reading the book right now.
I think I'm like a melting pot of all of them.
Yeah. Well, it just depends on the week. Like, you know, like one week you're like, I just want a necklace, and then other weeks you're like,
wait, I've never said I wanted a necklace.
Well, I know. Last week we talked about maybe we should try that one out.
I was like kidding. I was totally kidding. I was like, maybe my love language is actually gifts, and I don't realize it.
But then you were having like a lazy Sunday on Sunday, and you were like, my love language is quality time.
No, mine, I know for a fact that mine is quality time.
Oh, wow.
Like nothing gets me going like when you and I hang out together.
So tip number 3.
Or like even when he goes to like the grocery store with me, I'm like, this is the best day ever.
Woo! It's riveting. So tip number 3 is the importance of quality time. So it's funny because you would think that being married, it's easier to spend quality time together because you wake up next to the same person, you go to sleep next to the same person. It's actually not. It's like a lot harder to spend quality time because I think that you disguise being around each other all the time for actually having quality time with each other. And so we've had to learn, or I think I've had to learn that, like, you know, if quality time to you means going to the grocery store or us planning a date night, I can't really get around that by just being like, well, I'll see you tonight, you know, because it's like not the same thing. So like learning the importance of quality time has been like a 5-month learning curve.
Going on dates together and just like spending that like fun, playful time together. The next thing I would say is setting boundaries to make room for us in like our marriage. So a specific example was, you know, I'm really close with my family and my parents, and so are you, and I don't think that will ever change. But whenever you become like married, you really have to, or we've really had to like train ourselves to go to each other rather than like our families when we have these issues, because like at the end of the day, like our marriage, it's between like Jordan and I, and like we have to kind of make decisions that are best for us. And like we really respect our parents' advice, and so I think that's something that we'll never like lose sight of. We'll always ask for like our wise counsel, like our parents' advice. But at the end of the day, we kind of have to like filter out all the noise and focus on like what's an eyelash. Oh, I should have made a wish.
I did.
We really had to focus on like what's best for us. And so when we were buying a home, you know, it was really tough. It was like a big emotional decision. And we actually decided that we were going to, you know, we asked our parents for advice, like, you know, they walked the house with us. And then from then on, like we really just prayed about it with each other and like individually, and kind of just like relied on each other for like what our next step was, rather than calling up everybody in our family like, what should we do, what should we do? And that was really healthy for us, and I think we grew a lot.
So like at the end of the day, like, you know, friends, we transitioning from, you know, being engaged or even dating to being married, it's like, it's kind of funny because our marriage like always has to come first. But it's funny because we got married and things did change a little bit. Like I thought about work like a little bit less, because like you only have a finite amount of like energy, right? And like focus. And so, you know, it's easy to prioritize things above your marriage. But what's interesting is like the more that I've learned to balance and like focus on our marriage first, like everything else just falls into place. It's almost like the more I focus on this one thing that like God really values, like the more he takes care of me in other areas. And I thought that that's been like really cool, is like, don't be worried about taking away from other things to focus on your marriage. Like it's the most important thing you can do. Because
at the end of the day, we really are like a team together, and we're able to like celebrate really exciting things together, or whenever something bad happens, like we're there for each other, and it's like we are one. And it's like two are now one, so we're like a lot stronger than we would have been if we're just one. Yeah. You know? It's like,
so
see, like this is stronger than this.
I see it. I see it. It's like a knot.
See, knock this over. It's easier. Okay. No.
Yeah, I got you.
Next tip would be to always be your spouse's, that sounded funny. Always be your husband or your wife's like biggest encourager, not their biggest critic. I think that with what we do individually for our careers, we're already so hard on ourselves, and we're already like constantly every day like putting ourselves through the ringer with our careers. And so even if like I've made a mistake, like Jordan's really good about this, you know, like at the end of the day I'll come back and I'll be like really disappointed, and he won't be like, yeah, you should have done that differently. And like he doesn't try to like fix the situation, he just like tries to pump me up and be really positive and like speak all these like words of affirmation or like all this encouragement over me. Even if it wasn't true, he's like, it's just always very positive. And so I look at him as like somebody I can go to, that I don't have to like shy away from whenever I'm feeling like insecurity or like an insecurity or like some, you know, I did something wrong. I feel like I can go to him because he's going to encourage me no matter what decision I made in the past, because he's like always on my team.
So tip number, what are we on, like 7, 8, I don't know. But the next tip is just talking about not venting to about your spouse to like friends or family or, you know, anything. Like when we were dating, especially like earlier on, we'd get in a fight and we'd go to our roommates and be like, oh, like she did this, or like, oh, he did this. And I would even like talk to my mom sometimes, like, you know, just like everyone does, about like, you know, girl problems or things like that. But like in marriage, you really can't do that, because like you've taken a covenant to be together forever. And so like the more that you tear your spouse down, even if you're just trying to vent, it's just dangerous. Like it's really dangerous, because whatever you say or whatever you're venting about, typically when you're venting, you're not coming from a place of like, here's the full picture. Like you're like, here's why he's wrong, you know? And so like that sticks with people, that sticks with friends, and that sticks with family, and it affects like how people view your marriage and like what they're worried about with your marriage. And so we've just made a rule to like not do that. Like we take things to each other, and like if anything, if we're still in conflict, like we'll talk about what we're going through openly. Like we'll go to a dinner and like even if it's like a silly argument, we'll be like, so here's where I'm at on the issue, and like then Dani will argue back, but it's like we're together, like we know what's being said, versus like Dani calling her mom, or especially me calling my mom and being like, this is what I'm going through, like with Dani. It's just not, it's not right, it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's not healthy. And like typically when you're upset about something, you are only looking at like how it affected you negatively. Like you don't talk about all the great things that somebody else does, you only talk about the negative things. And so when you're venting to somebody, like they only see one side of the story, you know? And so it's just like gossiping, you know, it just doesn't really get you anywhere.
There is like another woman that I talk to about my problems, so.
She knows all.
She knows. You really want to vault? She won't say a word.
Yeah, she'll just like nod her head and be like,
I just sit and I said, you know, mom did this and I really didn't appreciate it. And she just said, I know.
I know,
do you want to go throw the ball?
When you said ball, her eyes were like,
I know. That's so funny.
We started to pray together once we got married.
I feel like once we got like married and became one, like that was a big thing for us.
I mean, I think when we were engaged, we spent a lot of that time focusing like on ourselves and our personal relationships with like our family, like spiritually, and with our friends. And so a lot of our prayers like were individual. And then once we got married, like we don't even really, like I don't look at like just Dani, or I don't think about like just Dani anymore. I always think Dani and Jordan, Dani and Jordan. And so like it's always great to pray together. It just like kind of really deepens your like bond and your relationship. And so that's been a really healthy thing for us, that we've tried to do consistently and just be like more.
Can I say one more thing about this? It's kind of crazy because I feel like God like actually answers our prayers together too. Like it's like, how do I explain this? It's like there have been multiple times where it's like, you know, like midnight, sometimes like we'll have like long conversations at like 11 or midnight or something. And we're both like going through and feeling convicted about like the exact same thing. And it's just like God totally has us on the same page, like the more that we're in prayer, which means like making decisions together is so much easier because it's like we're not having to convince them, the other person, of like what we feel like God's trying to tell us. It's like he's speaking to us like as one, which I thought has been really cool.
You know what's crazy too is like typically whenever I'm like really struggling, you're at a really good place spiritually and like can like lead
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's really crazy.
And it's the opposite too. It's like whenever I'm like really down, like Dani's positive, like, and like she's in like a really good place, and it's like wow,
we really do just like make each other better and like just we like refine each other, and like whenever we're struggling, like you really do have somebody to go to that's
a freaking good team
that pushes you like closer to the Lord. And like it's a really great thing because I feel like that prevents like a relationship from like spiraling like out of control. Like it's a really great way to, what is this?
Sorry.
Is
Swallow water bottle.
sponsored.
It's not sponsored.
I know,
I just think
kidding.
it's the coolest water bottle.
What's the saying?
Oh, quick.
Slow to anger, slow
No.
to speak, slow to anger, quick to listen. Quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger.
Yeah.
One of those.
Something like that. Basically, never become angry, be slow when you speak, and be quick to listen. I'll take this one because I'm not really good at it. I don't really.
You are.
No, I'm not really angry, but like I like to be right, and so like I
think everybody likes to be right.
I know, but like I really do, and I feel like I'm like kind of good at arguing, and like I use
He's
my
more
words.
articulate than I. Like he uses his words when we're fighting, and not in like a mean way. He just like argues things. Like he's in a class, like a debate class, and I'm like, I can't argue better than you can. So you sound better than me, but I'm upset still.
And I don't think like, just to be fair, like I don't think I like use it to bully, you know, or anything
never.
like that.
No.
I don't know, like I think I've gotten better at, you know, if you're feeling something or like we're in an argument about something, like I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna like take everything in first and then I'm gonna speak. This is like a bonus tip, but like honestly, I think a lot of, you know, marriage is very serious, okay? Like it's a very serious thing and it's hard sometimes. But I feel like we've won the most in the past 5 months by just like, she's pulling on Hazel. Yeah. By just like not taking ourselves or like life too seriously.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's like one thing that we do really well. Like we don't, you know, it's like, yeah, life is hard and we have like a lot of responsibilities and stuff, but it's like, tomorrow's still gonna happen. Like, let's just
Yeah.
have fun with it.
I think that's so true.
I like
We like
that.
to have a good time.
Yeah.
We like to party around here.
It's downstairs again. Okay, I think we're good.
I think we're good.
So basically, if you implement all of those 10 tips, like, you're good.
No, we're still learning so much. We just wanted to share the 10 things that we've learned thus far that we feel like would maybe help another newly married couple out there. So we hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more. Feel free to leave us a comment of any other videos you would like for us to film. I'm sure we'll be doing more like marriage update advice videos.
We got
or
house
whatever.
content coming.
Yeah, we have a lot of house content, a home tour, bedroom tour, all the things.
What do you guys want to see?
Yeah, just let us know what you want to see in the comments.
No, but like for real this time, like sometimes
But, like,
we say
we
that
do it.
and like you don't actually comment what you want to see, and then we're like, okay, well come on.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
We're gonna go through the ball with Hazel.
Okay, love y'all. Bye.
She saw.
It's still the growing pains, they're keeping me up and I